Welcome to the MS Gym podcast. I'm your host, Jody Feltham, and it's about to get real as we listen to the victories and struggles of our own MS Gym members. So let's dive in. Getting that MS diagnosis can feel like a death sentence. But I hope you're encouraged today by our guest who shares that her diagnosis wasn't the end of her life at all, just the beginning of brand new adventures. Hello, MS Gym family. So glad you could join me today. And so many times I say we're traveling overseas, but today is extra special. We're actually traveling to Germany today. So I'd love for you to welcome my next guest, Annika. So, Annika, welcome. If I pronounce that horribly wrong.
Yeah, that's okay. Hi, Jody. Nice, to be here. Thanks for having me.
That's great. So, would you tell us about kind of how MS showed up in your life? Like, what were your first symptoms?
My first symptoms, I realized in my left hip when I was walking about, it was a long walk, like 5 kilometers or something, not unusual for me. So I used to walk a lot with the kids and outside. And suddenly I realized something was wrong with my leg. And I didn't know what it was. I couldn't even describe it. It was kind of funny. But I got home and like after a rest of 20 or 30 minutes, everything was totally fine again. So this was the first time it showed up. And I think that might have been in 2013 already.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I went on, lived my life. Nothing special happened. And next time I had a kind of physically stressy situation. I felt it in my hip. And suddenly I realized I couldn't pull up my toes. And I was like, oh, why can't I pull up my toes? So that was totally weird. And this never ever happened to me before. So when it occurred the third time, I went to the doctor and told her, yes, something's wrong with my leg. And she just checked me and said, oh no, seems like everything's all right. And you just go home, you do a little bit of workout with your legs. And if this doesn't work, it might be something with your brain. And I was like, what? Okay, shouldn't we just check it out now first? And she was like, no, it's okay. We don't have to check that out. And I was a little bit, frightened, kind of.
For sure.
Yeah. And I said, okay, what kind of workout am I supposed to do? Yeah, you just lay in your bed on your back and do a little bit of cycling with your legs. So, and I said, how long am I supposed to do that? And she said, yeah, well, about 3 months or something like that. And if it doesn't get better, you come back.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. No. So I went on. I did exercising in my normal daily life. I had nothing, really nothing. Only when I walked some kilometers.
Okay.
And I could walk a lot, but then it would appear. So I didn't realize it, the worsening first. Then I suddenly noticed it was only 4 kilometers. Then it was 3 kilometers when the symptoms started. And I went back to the doctor and said, well, there's really something wrong.
Mhm.
And they were like, oh no, you look so healthy, everything's fine, we can find anything. And I was like, I feel something's wrong. How should I appear here? Like, absolutely, yeah, down, and if I can't walk at all, and then you take me for serious.
Mm.
So it was really, yeah, I was really desperate. But at the same time, I forgot about it again, because if there is nothing, why should I worry? So then I had really stressful period in beginning of 2015, and it was absolutely totally stress in my family situation, and in my working situation. It was really bad. And the thing is, I think what is important about that is that stress is a trigger for MS, and for MS symptoms, and for MS worsening. And I catch the flu on top of all the stress, which didn't even make let me sleep. Then I couldn't walk anymore. I really couldn't walk, and I was like, "Wow, what's happening?" So, yeah, there must be something wrong, and I made appointments with an orthopedic doctor, with a clinic, and I went there to the hospital, and they checked me. I even went to the MRI, and they checked my lower back. So yeah, but it was fine. So they couldn't find anything, because they just looked on the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was sent home again, like, okay, come back in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then it was already 2016 when I heard the first time it could be MS, multiple sclerosis.
Mhm.
Yeah, you should check, and you should get an MRI done on your brain and your whole spinal cord. And this is what I did then. And then they said, okay, after the McDonald's criteria,
Mhm.
you have MS. And I was like, no, no, you are wrong. I
Mm.
don't take that. So I went to the next doctor, and he said, yeah, well, you have MS. And I was like, oh no, I don't believe that, until the third doctor says you have MS. So I went to the third doctor, and she said, okay, I will do a lumbar puncture. Yeah, then they found out, yeah, it only can be MS.
Mm.
And we think it's PPMS. And this was in 2017. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That was a lot of symptoms. And then it's kind of horrifying. No one took you seriously. You knew something was wrong with your body. And you're
Yeah.
having these symptoms, and I can't even imagine. Like, I know the German healthcare system is is different. But to send you home, like I can't even imagine what that would have been like, sending you home with some exercises, come back, and if it doesn't help, then it might be your brain. And then no one
Yeah.
talks about your brain for the next like 3 years. Like it just,
Yeah.
oh, that,
Yeah, I really don't understand that. I thought I have to crawl in, so they would take me serious.
now, did you ever pursue medication, or you decided to work more with your lifestyle and your diet?
Yeah, at first I really fought for medication because I was diagnosed PPMS. They said there's no medication. You just go home and in 6 months you come back for the next checkup, MRI. And I was feeling so left alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why should I come back? And yeah, they even didn't have time for me. They didn't even prescribe any physiotherapy. They just uh yeah told me the diagnose in like 50 minutes, and then they didn't have time left for me, and no medication, nothing. And this felt very bad. So I changed the doctor, and she did the next diagnose and told me, yeah, well, I think it's remitting MS,
Mm.
relapsing remitting. And she gave me some medication and told me about some new medication I should try. And at a at this point, I started to feel like, um, yeah, they were just juggling with the diagnosis, like today it's PPMS, next day it's RRMS, now it's SPMS. So I really had them all.
Mm.
And for every diagnosis, there is a special medication,
Mm.
and it doesn't work for PPMS. And there's a huge list of side effects.
Yeah.
So I went home with my medication and I was ready to take it. And then I didn't do it.
Okay.
Because when I saw the list of side effects, and I realized how it worked, that it would totally destroy a part of my immune system, and that it could be that this was not the right medication for me. Yeah, I just didn't want to take it anymore.
Mhm.
So I tried to find another way, and my doctor told me that he did the Coimbra Protocol. He did this high dose vitamin D therapy with all MS patients in Berlin. Yeah, I was also a little bit skeptical about that, if this might work. And yeah, is this a real medication? I thought. And in the end, I thought, okay, I can just try it, give it a try. And I felt really good. So at first, my fatigue vanished. I had really bad fatigue. I didn't even know that it was fatigue.
Mhm.
So I just knew little about MS at all. And I always thought I'm just tired from the day a little bit. So I picked up my kids at afternoon, went home, fell in my bed and slept until 7 o'clock. And then when I got up and made all the housekeeping and everything, and I thought, yeah, you're just a little bit tired. And when I started this high dose vitamin D, this vanished.
So there are like a lot of people have talked a lot about the Coimbra protocol, and obviously, for some people it works really well, and I'm glad you found that it works well and it seems to lessen your symptoms. And obviously, I have to say that you have to be carefully followed too, though, right? Because there
Yeah,
is some dangers of high dose vitamin D.
exactly. This is absolutely true. I wouldn't do it without my doctor.
So your diagnosis, you working through it, thought about medication, settled on the vitamin D, which sounds like has really helped you a lot. Now, how did you, obviously exercise has been a huge part of your life. You talk about these long 4 kilometers, 5 kilometer walks. How did you go about finding the MS gym?
Yeah, this was when I was looking for a cure because they just sent me home with nothing. But what I always found was physiotherapy did help me. Workout did help me. And then I found out about the MS gym. And I think it was in Facebook, and looks nice and looks fun. And this was when I enrolled in 2018.
I didn't
Yeah,
realize
what?
you were part of the MS gym for that length of time. Okay. Oh,
Yeah, I stopped in between because I think I was also a little bit too impatient, and I thought, why should I do those sitting exercises? And yeah, I'm still walking around and I need more workout. So I just spent some time in the members group,
mm-hmm.
but I didn't work out.
Oh,
I worked out at home, and I did yoga, and I made other workouts on my power plate, and I went to physical therapist. So my family doctor prescribed it, and I went also to something called rehabilitation sports.
okay.
So I did a lot, but actually I was so many times exhausted after it,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt still worsening.
Hmm.
So this couldn't stop the progression.
I'm assuming that's when you came back to the MS
Yeah.
gym to take another look at what was going on.
Yeah, I enrolled the second time at the beginning of 2021.
Okay.
So it's 1 year now, 1.5 year. And I already felt better after 4 weeks or something like that. It was absolutely crazy.
What are some of the improvements or victories you've seen since joining the MS gym?
The biggest victory was when I realized that my body's not broken.
Mm.
So that it's not normal. You just worsen and worsen, and whatever you try, whatever workout, whatever exercising you do, you just worsen. No, it's about neuroplasticity.
Mm-hmm.
It's the brain is able to change, and I can do it. I can change my brain, and I can change the way I move, and I can connect to my muscles again, and I just need to build a new pathway. And this was so life changing, this moment. And from this moment on, I just felt so brave and self-conscious. I did all those things like skiing, first time in my life ever, going to the climbing park. And I knew that I could do more, or I am able to do more than I think,
Hmm.
because my fear holds me back. I am afraid. I have the sentence in my brain like, I don't want to fall on my face and die. What Trevor always says. And I just have to overcome this sentence. It's it's okay that my brain just feels it just wants to save me.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. It's really nice and friendly. It's for a short time.
Yeah.
If you have an accident and you need to get to the doctor or something like that, and you're in survival mode
Mhm.
just for now, yeah, then it's fine, but not over a really long period.
Mm.
So you will lose your muscles, and then you walk worse and worse and worse. And Um, yeah, and if compensation comes on top,
Mm.
yeah, you're in a downward spiral, and you can just stop it and turn it around, and you can create an upward spiral. I felt so released from this moment when I noticed that I was able to do something. I could do it with my own will and my own power,
Mm.
and it just depends on me. So yeah, I think that's really important for me.
No, that's wonderful. And just hearing about your story and diagnosed and the doctor kind of dismissed you. A few of them did. They said there's nothing we can do for you. And just go home, and you wanted more information and they gave you nothing. And
Yeah,
now it feels like you've come full circle, because now suddenly you've have more education, but now you feel like you have the power back because you know
yeah,
how to get stronger, and you know that it's not hopeless anymore. That's what,
yeah.
when you were talking, that's what it said. You found hope, basically.
Yeah, I found hope.
You know what I have to say though, you've impressed myself, and I'm so many people in the MOC, because you do all of these posts. And so I did a little search in the
Yeah,
MOC, and I think one of the first posts is you walking and you have 2 cups of coffee in your hand. Like, that was a big victory, like to be able
yeah,
to walk with the coffee and not spill the coffee. And
yeah,
then, like you said, I think you had one that you went skiing, and then you had another one that showed like lots of walking in, like, kind of in a wooded area.
yeah,
Um, and then recently you even had one where you kind of learned to play the guitar, and you were like dancing for us all.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I took bass lessons. It's bass guitar actually. Yeah, this is when I realized this the bass is the part of the music I listen the most to, because I love to dance. I
Mm.
still dance, and I would dance without legs. I dance on my seat
Yeah.
if I can. And I'm also dancing in the kitchen while cooking or whatever. Sometimes I just want to dance. And yeah, when your leg is not moving like you want to, it's really annoying. And it's also kind of dangerous sometimes.
Yes.
So with this bass guitar, I could sit on a chair and I could be the rhythm. I would not just move to the rhythm, I would be the rhythm. And this was the moment I thought, okay, I'm going to learn bass guitar. Yeah, let's give it a try. I'm just too old and nobody wants to see it, but I just do it for myself. And now, with my new self conscious and my new braveness, I thought, okay, well, I can go skiing, I can go climbing, yeah, I can go on a stage. Why not? So I went to a jam session. It's once in a month in Berlin,
Okay.
and I go there, even if I'm still a bad bass player and I'm still a beginner. I just love it. It's so cool. And yeah, I couldn't have imagined that I'm able to do something quite new and to learn it. And I think it's important that I see I'm able to do new things. And if one thing is I'm not able anymore to do it, I don't get stuck in grief, but I will find new things
Mm.
which I can enjoy. And even if I'm not as good as in the old things, maybe at first, I can enjoy them anyways.
It really seems like you have a new lease on life. Is there anything you heard or read that inspired you to start these new adventures?
I think I got inspired by a quote from Stephen Hawking, and it says, "My advice to other disabled people would be concentrate on things your disability doesn't prevent you doing well, and don't regret the things it interferes with. Don't be disabled in spirit as well as physically."
Wow. I have never heard that, but that's beautiful. And
Yeah,
I'm gonna put that in the show notes for sure. That's a very powerful quote because I think,
yeah,
we talked about how the change happened to you when you suddenly had hope and you realized there were things you could do. I think the idea that, we can feel physically disabled, but mentally, we can take that on and it can limit us. Like, I think it's like you got like a second lease in life, going skiing and learning guitar, like all these things
yeah,
at one point didn't seem possible to you. And then you suddenly realize that you can and that you're
yeah,
able to do those things.
yeah, exactly. This is exactly the essence of it. And I also started horseback riding again. I thought I can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So before I got diagnosed, I was horseback riding and I nearly fell off the horse. And I realized I couldn't hold myself in the saddle. The friend of mine who owns the horses said, "Yeah, well, if you come to a certain age and maybe it's now your time to stop horseback riding, don't be sad. You had a nice time in life on a horseback." And I was like, "Yeah, well, you're right." But then I woke up in the morning on a vacation in a tent in France.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, I want to do horseback riding again. And no, MS shouldn't hold me back.
Hmm.
And yeah, other people are disabled too, and they are riding horseback riding, like Paralympics and the para equestrians. So I thought there must be a way. And so I found myself a hippotherapist who
Mm-hmm.
promised not to just do the hippotherapy with me, but also to give me lessons, riding lessons. So
Okay.
real riding lessons, because I said I want to ride, really horseback riding, learn it again, or even learn it better than before. And yeah, this is what we are doing. And the MS gym just was like a booster for me,
Hmm.
because now I can connect to my muscles. I can see how I balance. I know exactly which muscle to contract to put my weight in the saddle on a certain point or on a certain side.
Mm-hmm.
And I can even find my feet again. Before the MS gym, my hippotherapist would come and put my feet into the stirrups. And she said, "Yeah, we are just riding without feet. It's okay. I show you a new way how you can learn to ride. And then we will build new pathways." She also said that.
Hmm.
And yeah, now for me it's totally normal to find the stirrups even if the horse is moving. So it's no problem for me. It's just like it's suddenly I could do it again. And I get I get less and less exhausted in the lessons.
Hmm.
At first I would be exhausted about the whole day after horseback riding. And now I think it's due to my better core. And yeah, it's also this upright BGB posture you have in the saddle.
Mm-hmm.
It's important. And I think the MS gym is helping me absolutely with horseback riding. And this was also my experience with skiing. So it's a lot about putting weight on your on your feet in a certain way, like yeah, putting the weight on the left foot or on the right, and contract muscles
Mhm.
at the right moment. And before the MS gym, I just did it by trial and error if
Okay.
I learned something new. But now I'm much more conscious while I learn new things. So that's also something that changed.
That's great. It sounds like, like finding the MS gym, it brought you hope and you have community to share these victories with, and it also educated
Yeah.
you and it empowered you to do these new skills and do it more confidently. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really fantastic.
Mm.
And I really love the MS gym. And I try to do every day my program. And if I'm really, really tired, I try to do at least the half program
Oh, okay. Yep.
or or the neural drills.
Okay. Yep.
So, and yeah, but there are also days I say, okay, today is my day off.
Mm.
And that's also quite okay. But I try to let it be a habit that I exercise every day.
So, Anika, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. I'm sure there's so many more things that we could talk about, but I appreciate your time today and hearing all about the new adventures that you are engaging in, and I look forward to seeing what new video you're going to post in the MOC.
Yeah, I promise I will try some new things.
That's
Yeah, I'm really excited about my life and my future, and I'm at this point where I think, yeah, I don't know what the future will bring, but I think it will be good.
Do you want to give a voice to your own story or learn more about the MS Gym? You can check us out at themsgym.com.